All right, guys, so we are outside again today, and we are going to, or rather I am going to attempt to divide this ginormous ZZ plant here. As you can see, it goes all the way up to here. I bought this back in December from my local nursery, Nick's Nursery. I've mentioned them several times here in Colorado, and since I've gotten her, it has put on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new growths, and still has all of the other growths. I have cut off 2 of the growths and put them in a jar to propagate, and then I've also tried to do leaf propagation, so we'll look at that here in just a little bit, but we are going to go ahead and get her done. So I did buy these little cheap steak knives at the Dollar Tree. Hopefully they're going to be sharp enough and last long enough to divide her. Just as a disclaimer, I've not done this before. I have done research on how to do it, so we'll see how this turns out. I do have my clay pots and my soil and everything. So what we're going to do first is we're going to get her out of the pot. We're going to go ahead and divide her, and then we'll leave her for a couple of hours to let those cuts harden off, and then we'll put her in the pot. So let me just get everything set up, and then we'll be back and we'll get started. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is obviously take her out of the decorative pot. But as you can see, she is now, it's kind of more of an oval shape than it is a round shape. So that is a good indicator that she is trying to get out of her pot. So I will sacrifice this pot if I have to. I'd like to keep it, but I don't know that she's going to, oh, yay. All right, so I did leave her dry. I've not watered her in about 3 weeks, so did make it dry. Some sources said to water it before you do it. Some said to let it dry before you do it. So I just decided to let it get dry. I'll try to loosen some of this up here at the top first, just so we can kind of see what is going on. And as you can see, the roots on these are really thick and juicy, very similar to our Phalaenopsis roots. We have some down here that are looking pretty good, and then we've got some smaller ones. I will cut any dead roots as I go along. Maybe I may just leave everything the way it is, just because I don't want to mess it up too much. But like I said, I'm just going to go through and see so that we can see how to divide this little girl. And I call all of my plants she's. No particular reason why, I just do. Some of them I do call he. Like dendrobiums I tend to call he's, and I think that just, I don't know why that is. Just no particular reason. Okay, where are we gonna start? We have, if we look here, see if I can get it a little more in focus for you. So I feel like this right here could be a division right here, because that'll have that bulb there with it. This one here, we'll just take it off, because that's one of the ones that I cut off for propagation, see if I could stem propagate. And then we have a natural division here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's just get to cutting and see what we got here. So I am going to cut right here. And I just broke a stem. Oh, that's horrible. Well, it is what it is. It's one of the casualties of war, I guess. So there we go. All right. So this is what we have here. And I'm going to leave this piece in here as well, because maybe it'll produce something for us. So there's one piece. And then once I cut that off, here's another natural right here. Maybe if I lay it down and do it this way, yeah. This way I'm not jiggling it too much. All right, let's just cut through to the roots. All right, and then this one will have 3 growths on it. And while we're here, let's just clean it off, any of these bulbs and stuff. Looks like we have a new growth coming in right there. Do you see that little tiny growth in there? All right. And then, you know what, we'll do this here. Oh, this one looks like it's just gonna naturally just come off on its own there. There we go. All right, so what we ended up with, let's see if I can just pull that root out without cutting it. If I can get it loosened off there. Oh, it's wrapping all the way around. There we go. So what we ended up with was 4 pieces. All right, so I'm going to pause it real quick, take the camera off the tripod so we can kind of see what they all look like prior to putting them into another pot. And like I said, we're going to let these kind of dry out for a couple of hours so that these wounds can heal off. Give me just a second. All right, so it's been a couple of hours. Let me move this out the way real quick. So it's been a couple of hours, so let's get our soil and some rock to put at the bottom of pots. Let's see, I didn't think this through. The soil here. And so what's in here is, let's see, it's cactus soil, all-purpose potting soil, and then just some perlite. Again, there's no percentage of mixture, and I am outside. Sorry for the traffic noise you might hear in the background, but because I am working with dirt, I don't want to do this inside in case it gets really messy. I'm not trying to clean all that up. It's a lot easier just to get the dirt off the table, throw it in the yard, and call it a day. So I'm just kind of going through, making sure I don't have any major big pieces that need to be broken down. And there is some bark in here as well, so I want to make sure that I don't have like big chunky bark in here, because I did put some smaller bark in here. Sometimes the big chunky bark is in with the potting mix that I make. Let's start with one of the big ones. So I am going to put them in a big pot because the plan is for them to get big. And as you can see, it's all hardened off here. Now, once I pot these though, I won't be watering them for a couple of days just to make sure that these do stay nice and dry. I don't want to rot them, but I did grab some rock. So I'm going to put the rocks at the bottom to help with drainage. So there we go. And then let's see, there's that new growth coming there. So I'm just going to set it kind of back. Let's use our hand first and just put some soil at the bottom there. I just think they'll look really pretty in these clay pots. And these clay pots are breathable, so that if I do tend to overwater them at any point in time, they'll help absorb the excess moisture. And the thing with ZZ plants is you don't want to water them very often. These big fat bulbs here, they do hold the water in there for them, as well as these rhizomes. And you do want to let that rhizome sit on the top. You don't want to bury it. You want to be able to kind of see it, because that helps keep them from getting soggy and spoiling. Let's see, I probably will have to put that stake back in here on this one. I was hoping not to have to do that, but it is kind of a long one. Oh, it might help if you put the sticky part down first. And then I may tie it to it, but it should be okay. All right, so there's that one. I'll put that one off to the side there very carefully. And then let's grab one of the smaller pots to put one of the smaller ones in. Again, I'm just going to put rock at the bottom to help with the aeration. Put this one. What about, let's add this one that I broke off on as well in there. All right, put some soil in there. Nope, you know what? I have another plan for that one. Put that in there. And I'm going to assume that the new growth is going to come this way, just because that's where the last growth was. All right, and then after this one, guys, I'll just fast forward through the rest of them. Well, actually, I'll do that one first and show you the cute little pot. I'm gonna put it in, and then we'll fast forward through the rest of it. Press it down just a little bit to keep it secure. And there we have that one. Move that one off to the side. All right, and then this little pot here is the one, I think I'm gonna put this one and this other little small one in together. I think that'll look really cute. All right, now, all right, so after this, I will definitely just fast forward through it, and then we'll see what happens at the end. This is the one that has the new growth on it, and the one that I cut the other one off of, and I'm not real worried about that one there. It'll either make it or not, but this one here will be fine. And like I said, I'm not going to water them for a couple of days just to make sure that those cuts are really, really sealed off well. And let me just move this out of the way real quick. We're going to talk about the ones that we've propagated, and then in a minute I'll just show you guys all of the ones together here. Yeah. And I was like, how did we end up with 5? But I forgot I put 2 in together. We'll get a good view of them all here in just a second. This is the one that I did the leaf propagation in. So they've been in here since the 26th of February. So I don't see any pups or anything, but if you pull on them, they are rooted. So apparently I should be getting some new growth out of them. I just don't know how long. So it's taken them 4 months to get to here. And then these are the 2 stalks that I cut off, and I have not yet checked to see if there are any roots. So we're going to look at that together. Let me just kind of shake this, because all I have them in is just water and rock, and I change the water out every 2 to 3 days. So let's see. Oh, we have roots. Yay! Look at that. All right, and I put them in at the same time. It was in February. I did them both at the same time. So let me just get some of the excess stuff off of here, and let's go ahead and get them planted and see what they do. We'll just plant them in together. We'll just put them in this little one, since I didn't use it for the other thing that I wanted to do. And of course, I put my soil down here. Let's just get it together here, and then we'll see what we have. And I'm just going to put them right in the center, because I don't know which way, if they're going to produce any pups or not. So we'll just have to wait and see. So let's see, February, March, April, May, June. March, April, May, June. So it takes them about 3 months to develop their roots. And as you can see, there weren't a lot of roots in there, but they're roots nonetheless. And then I will stake them here in a little bit. I didn't bring any extra stakes out with me, but I will stake them. And then I will water this and just keep it nice and moist for a couple of weeks, and then gradually lay off. Sorry about the motorcycle. I will lay off of the watering slowly after a couple of weeks, but just because it did come out of water and it's been in water for the last 4 months, the roots have gotten used to being a little more wet, so I will experiment with that. And the leaves look a little sad, but that's okay. Hopefully they'll perk up, and I will the camera off the tripod, and we'll just kind of have a look at all of them and see what's going on. All right, so I did put them down here in the grass because I did kind of rinse off the leaves. They were fairly dusty. So the top looks wet, but it's just that top layer. I didn't really water anything. But so we have this one here, and then this one. Those are the 3 largest. And we have that medium, 2 mediums there, and then the one that we propagated from a stem cutting. So we shall keep an eye on that one specifically throughout the growing season, see what happens. And then of course we'll look at the rest of them as well in the next coming weeks and months. 2 of them are going to 2 of my daughters once they get a little more established, and because they will grow in high light, low light, really any light. Obviously the more light they get, the quicker they'll grow. The lower the light, the slower they grow. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any tips on how to get these guys to take off, leave them in the comments down below, and we'll see you on the next one.